Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Gildner, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a little tutorial on how to start coding some text in GameMaker Studio. Now this is a really basic and easy thing to do, but a lot of people out there who are just starting coding don't really understand the concept yet. So today I'm going to quickly run through how to go about making some text and a font for GameMaker Studio. Now the first thing you're going to want to do if you want to make a font is go here and click Create Font, and here you're going to name your font. Generally I name it FNT, which stands for font. And then I name it something else that I'll remember. You want to name this something that's easy to remember so that you could use it later on in the code and reference it. And then what you want to do is simply pick whatever, text type you want. As you can see, it changes over here as I scroll. For the sake of this tutorial, we'll just pick Berlin Sans FB. And we're going to make it size 20 just because we can. And we can also bold it if we wish, which doesn't really do much to this text. However, it does work. And then we click OK. And now we have our font. Now we're not using the font yet, and it's not going to be used by default necessarily unless we say it is. So for example, just in this case, we'll be using the object wall. Now normally you'd want to use an object that only appears once or have something else that only does it once. Otherwise you'll be doing this multiple times and creating the same code when you don't really need to. Because in my sake of this test, I've made all the walls fill the room just for the sake of, a looking room. So in this case, it's going to be creating the text multiple times when it doesn't need to. You won't see that visually, but code-wise it happens. That's why you only want to do it once. But for the sake of this, we'll just keep it simple, and we're going to create an event. We're going to go to draw, and we're going to want to draw GUI, because if you use regular draw and you have an event like this where it's a wall or something you actually want to have visible in the room, if you use regular draw, that's not going to work. Now this is the most basic way to do it. You can't just draw text while using these buttons, but you can make it really simple by just doing this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go execute some code by placing this here. And in here, the first thing you're going to want to do is set your text to whatever font you want. Now you can leave it by default, and it'll be the default text by just not putting this text line in I'm about to do. Or if you want to use the text line you just created, you just do this, draw, set, font, FNT, base, and now you have set the font for anything that gets created after this to be using your font that you have created here, which in this case is called FNT base. Now we're going to write some code really briefly here just to see what you want to write. Now for the sake of this test, I'm just going to pick a random location on my board. We're going to say draw text, if I can spell it correctly, there we go. And now we're going to want to reference the X location, which for the sake of the test we'll do 416. And we're going to want to reference the Y location of our 2D game. We're going to want to reference 96 in this case because that's where I want to put it. And now this is where we write the text. Now you want to make sure you use quotations or these right here, either this or this, and end with the exact opposite sign, so that way it creates actual text instead of trying to run some kind of line of code. Now for the sake of this, we'll just say something along the lines of, this is a test. And now we just simply end it with the exact same quotation mark we used. And then we close the parentheses, and now it's going to write that text. Now for the sake of this test, let me just run a quick test to show you the test. There's a lot of word with test in it, but there you go. There's also some music here, which I'll turn down for you guys. But in the sake of this test, you'll see that it is now written in the default text that we have chosen up here. Not the best font, however, it is a working font. And again, it's entirely up to you what you would choose as the font. Now, as you can see, we can always modify that by going back in here, turning off bold or whatever we want. We can lower the size if we want to make it, say, 14. We can do that. And then what you're going to want to do is go back into the object wall. When you go in here, if you want to set a color, this is the last thing I want to teach you guys for this short tutorial. If you want to set the font to any color, you have to do is simply type this, draw set color. You can spell it either the British way or the American way. And then you're going to want to say C underscore and then whatever color you want. There is blue, for example, there is red, there's all kinds of colors. And then you end it with a parenthesis. Save your little work there, close this, and then you can test it again, and as you'll see, this time it'll be red, and it'll be size 14 and no longer bolded, because that is what we have made change-wise, as you can see. So yeah, that's a simple little tutorial, guys, on how to code, text in the GameMaker. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in maybe more tutorials down the road.